We got another sick project in the shop today. Miss Rodeo USA, Jesse Lynn is back in the shop. My mind's always blown that Miss Rodeo USA wants to work with the dude whose logo is the Grim Reaper in a cowboy hat. But I'm always down. I love the crazy range of customers that I deal with, from TikTokers to Miss Rodeo USA to firefighters to rodeo world champions to edgy horse Instagram girls. Like, I will take the whole spectrum. We are making Miss Rodeo USA 2022 Miss Jesse Lynn a purse. Now this purse is pretty sick. Without further ado, let's jump into this project. I cannot wait to see how this bad boy turns out. Let's jump into it. All right, so I got this piece here. This is the front of this bag we're gonna do. You can see we got a couple little bull skulls here. Threw some feathers in the mix. She is a singer, so we threw in some music notes. It's not the first time I've done some music stuff for her. I actually did a Sweet Home Alabama themed belt, which was pretty sick. Basically, we're gonna remove all these little background chunks throughout this piece, and it's actually gonna turn into like a Swiss cheese. So we're gonna set it on top of some hide, and you'll be able to see the hide underneath, so that should be pretty rad. All right, I got this thing cased already, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more. Starting with the things in the tooling that are the most pronounced and most important, and kind of doing all those and kind of working on the piece all at once. So I'm gonna take my Mellow Berry King bevelers and get to tapping here. And what I'm doing is just getting in these hard lines. I'm not gonna sit here and tool the skull all the way out, but I am gonna bevel the hard lines. I end up doing finer details later on in the process. Pieces that are more pronounced, you're gonna find as you start going towards the background, more and more layers on top of each one of these things, where you could see the skull is pretty much completely in the foreground with nothing obstructing it at all, other than we have this tiny little piece of this feather and this petal of this leaf here coming over the top. To make sure those are beveled super good, we're gonna kind of do those. That we don't have to come back and correct our tooling in a minute when we come back. I got that skull done. This skull over here, actually pretty pressed forward because it's actually kind of sitting on this vine, because I don't have it interacting with the background too much. Kind of the more pronounced you can make those items or those objects, the bigger emphasis you have on them, without having to have 1,000 music notes. If you have one good placed music note, it gets the job done. But we wanted a couple different ones in there, so. The reason why there's somewhat of an order of operation here, what we want to do is give it the appearance that this is diving behind. So if we do this borderline first, that's on top, we can come back in here and give it the appearance that it goes down behind there. See how it looks like it goes down behind? Now, the reason why we do it that direction is we're gonna do the opposite right here with this, the bottom of this. You know how we said we wanted to make sure this line is beveled because this looks like it dives under? We're going to do the opposite of that, where we're gonna tool the thing that dives under first and then go like this. And what ends up happening, it smashes down this bevel here. That's kind of why I like to do it in chunks. I feel like even though it might jump around a little bit more, it does make things a little bit more interesting. I feel like I could just get in the zone and just chase things down. Kind of really is a personal preference. Now we're going to these other things that are highlight points, like flowers. Okay, so this is why I like kind of doing this method where my tooling is a little bit easier to read and break down. So I got this big chunk of floral kind of coming up and over the top. And then I have this other chunk of floral kind of in the center, like this little window. And then I have this coming around, and then we have a couple little details in these. So that's how I'm gonna work on them from basically this point forward. All right, we're rounding this home stretch here. All right, finished tooling it. I gotta let it dry and I gotta throw some paint on it, and then we'll get to removing the background. Since we do have all these edges here of all these petals, we gotta really be careful and just be super thorough, because missing a spot is incredibly easy. And because it is difficult to get down in the cracks, I use the EcoFlow instead of the Phoebings. Just because, as you can see, it's a lot more runny. Times like this is when I really am glad that I use a toothbrush to apply the stain. Oh yeah, that is looking really freaking nice. Looks really good. I just kind of rub this down with any excess that I have. Man, that looks really good. It's almost like I've done this before or something. Once this is dry, and buff off some of the excess, so this should lighten up and give us a little bit better contrast. And this thing should be ready to roll. All right, so we got this bag. Now we're gonna do some inlay. So how I'm gonna lay it out, it's gonna basically look like this when it's said and done, and this is gonna come through. So I'm gonna glue this in, and then I'll come back and trim off the excess. I haven't done one of these bags in a while. I've gotten a lot better since the last time I did one of these bags, so I'm really happy with how it's turning out. We do these inlays, it doesn't have the best contact because you have to be really careful not to get glue kind of in the middle and make a mess of it. So we just really got to make sure that glue sticks and holds. I'm gonna come back to this in a minute or two. So we're ready for the old sewing machine. I don't know how good you'll be able to see with this POV. No time like the present.
So we are gluing the interior liner down to the outer part of this bag, so it's nice and smooth and pretty leather on the inside. And then we're sewing the top portion because down the sides is where we're going to actually lace the bag together. And then from here is where we hit the edges with some black, so we got a nice finished look.
So we're super close to being done. Just kind of got to assemble this. I am running pretty dang low on these rivets, so I gotta make these count. To dome them, and then come back in and drive them home. Nice and flat so they don't go anywhere. Okay, moment of truth. So when we go to close this, there we go. Okay. So there we have it. So it should look something like that when we're done. Ta-da, there we have it. This thing is tough. This thing is super cool. With everything that we've made her so far, we do these kind of turquoise feathers, so that's gonna be a continuing theme. And she wanted to go with a little something out of the box. So we ended up doing some little cow skulls on here. I think this is the first time we've given her some, what I'd like to call the Man in Black leather studio treatment, where we actually put like some skulls, made it a little bit edgier. Everything else she's been doing has been super pretty, really girly stuff that she would use at the pageant. We got these cool little decorative snaps here. Then on the back side, I gave her a little window of this hide, just for a little something, something. She was only gonna go for plain, and I was like, you know what, Jesse, don't worry about it. Let me hook you up with a cool little something on the back side. So if you ever even wanted to, you can go out, you know, something a little bit more clean, a little less flashy. And then down to the strap, we continued with some more music kind of themes, did the notes, and then on the back side, we threw them red. I love how this thing turned out. Super cool. Thank you guys for watching. That was a lot of fun. Share with your friends, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube stuff, yada, 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 YouTube stuff. Catch you next time. Bye.